Okay. Today we're going to be working on the cylinder mount. So you can see here in the print that I provided you in your packet, I provided both an isometric drawing and the front view essentially. And that's just because there are some details in the dimensioning that just couldn't be represented in an isometric view. There's one or two other drawings like this in the packet. But let's take a look at this. So we've got a relatively square base with rounded corners, bolt hole pattern where the holes are ½ inch in from each edge. So you'll note ½ inch here, ½ inch here, ½ inch here, so that they're based on the outside perimeter of our square base. If we look at our base, it's 3 inches by 3 inches. And then the boss that comes up here, that's actually the thing that the cylinder would get mounted to. Has two flat machine faces that are symmetrical on either side. The only thing that's asymmetrical about this is the front to back placement of this boss. So the reason why the 1¼ inch measurement is here is because in the other direction, on the back side to the back edge, it's a little bit either longer or shorter. I forget off the top of my head. And then we'll note that the base here is 5/8 of an inch, but then up top it grows to 3/4. So you can see that creates a little 1/16 shoulder on either side. And we have one main hole here that's 3/4 of an inch in diameter, and the whole thing is 1 7/8. All right, so let's open up a drawing. And we will, let's get drawing. So we're going to go into our folder, and we'll just open up our demo folder here, and we'll just grab from, let's grab from the blind flange, why not? So we'll open up our blind flange, and again, I'm just going to do save as, so we're making a copy of this. And we're going to call it cylinder mount. Save. And you'll see the title has updated, and then we're going to close that out. Alright, once we've closed that out, or deleted that, sorry, then we're going to start drawing our cylinder mount. So again, we'll start off with the square base. We're basically just going to start off by duplicating this front view. So we'll start off by drawing a rectangle that's 3/4 by 3, and then we'll draw the two circles that represent this. So let's do that. We're going to open up our object layer. So 3 inches, 0.75. And we'll just use our O-snap to track that. Now those circles, left to right, there's no dimension, so one would assume, based on center lines and things, that this is symmetrical, so it's straight up the middle, and we're going to go up 1 1/8 inches. So I find the best way to do that, to find that location, is we're just going to draw a line straight up from the midpoint there on 1.125, and that's our center point for our circles. And we need a 3/4 inch circle and a 1 7/8 circle, so we will draw those. C for circle, D for diameter, 1.875, and then 0.375 radius. And there's our two circles. So we look back down at our front view here. We're going to drop lines straight down. There's a little fillet at the bottom. We can do that after the fact. And that fillet is actually noted right here. So it's an 1/8 inch radius all the way around on all 4 sides. So let's drop our line down here. Again, just straight down to our base. And fillet. And we're gonna use some of our fillet options here. So before we used to change the radius. So we hit R for radius. We want an 1/8 inch radius, so we'll put that in. But then also there's trim. We're going to hit T for trim. We're going to set it to no trim by typing N and hitting enter. And so what that'll do is when I draw our fillets here, See, it draws in the fillet, but then it leaves the lines. If we had it set to trim, it would remove all of this line. We don't want that to happen. So we're just going to come in with trim, and we're just going to remove just that part of the line after the fact. It's much easier to do it that way because this line should be continuous all the way across. We don't want a situation like that. So we're going to leave that. Okay, the last thing we need to add in here are our holes, which, like we said, are centered 1/2 inch in from the edge. And the diameter on those holes is 0.375 right there, 3/8 of an inch. So there's a few ways we can do that. I'm just going to offset, go 1/2 inch, come in 1/2 inch. These are both going to turn into center lines. So we'll do that. We can stretch those out so that they extend up if we want. Actually, we'll do that after the fact. We'll do offset 3/16, which is 1/2 of 3/8, to get a total width here of 3/8 of an inch for our holes. And all we're going to do is just stretch this up. Let's go like 1/8 of an inch. That works. Same thing down, 1/8. And we'll do the same thing over here. And again, you could draw this 125. You could draw one of these and then copy it over. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. Let's change these 4 lines to hidden lines. Okay. And then we're going to change our line type scales on all of these. Let's start by doing these together and just see if we can get a nice look with one line type scale. That actually looks good with 0.5 for a line type scale, so we'll just leave that. I like the hidden lines, and we got a dash in our center line. So the only thing we're missing here is just center line on our big circle here. So we'll hit offset, and we'll offset that 1/8 of an inch. Put in a guide circle that's bigger, again, just like we usually do. And then we'll just draw our center line across, and draw our center line down, and delete our guide circle. And that view is done. So next, let's do our top view. So our top view, switch over to Object. Top view is just going to be, oh, I thought I switched to Object. Let's do that again. There we go. Top view is just going to be a square. Come up here. We're going to come over 3 inches. We're going to come down 3 inches and over. I'm just going to trim that little segment off. And then we're going to fillet all the corners. Actually, let's center up our circles here. So we're going to hit offset 1/2 inch, and we're just going to offset all 4 of these lines in. Temporarily. And then we can draw our circles, our 3/8 inch circles. Diameter 0.375. And I'm going to offset that, let's say 0.1. So we can draw in our center lines. And again, just like we've done in the past, we're going to draw our center lines in on one of them, and then we'll copy the center line plus the circle after the fact, after we adjust our line type scale. So let's do that. 0.5, not low enough. Let's try 0.3, 0.2. 0.2 looks like it's working. Okay. And we're going to very carefully, we're going to delete our outside circle here. So we've got this circle plus our center lines. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but I haven't selected this. And then we'll click copy, grab it from the middle. We'll just go 1, 2, and 3. And then those pink guidelines that we offset, we can just remove those. Okay. So now we need rounded corners. Okay, we got to round off our corners. So if we go back here, the rounded corners are 1/4 inch radius. We'll type fillet, and we'll hit T for trim. We want to trim this time, so we'll hit T again and hit enter. And then R for radius, and our radius this time is 1/4 of an inch. And then we can just do our 1/4 inch fillet all the way around on all four corners here. So it's a 1/4 inch radius on all four corners. All right. So then let's start putting in our boss. This thing's sticking up here. Now, again, we have a cylindrical shape, so the top edge of it, like we're looking at now, is going to be represented with rectangles. This gets a little tricky though, because we've got one area that's 3/4 of an inch thick, and one area that's 5/8 of an inch. So how do we represent the 5/8 and the 3/4? So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to draw our rectangle so that we draw a 3/4 inch by 1 7/8 inch rectangle in this view. However, it's got to be 1 1/4 to the 5/8 thickness here. So we could subtract a 1/16. So 1 3/16 from this edge is where a 3/4 inch rectangle starts. It's a lot to talk about, but we'll draw it and we'll make it make sense. So first thing I want to do, we're going to use our 0 layer so it's easy to tell things apart. And we're just going to project this circle up, straight up, go all the way through everything. Just makes life a little bit easier. Okay. We're going to offset this 1 3/16. So offset 1-3/16. Okay. And then we're going to offset that again, 3/4 of an inch. And then we'll close that in with object lines. And we can get rid of our 2 guidelines there and trim. Okay. And then to get our 5/8 thickness here, we're going to offset these in 1/16 of an inch. So offset 1/16. Bring that in. Bring that in. Now these 2 lines we just made, they're not visible. So if we go in here, we'll notice the top is smooth. There's no edge there, but the edge is underneath. So that needs to be a hidden line. So we go here, and those get turned into hidden lines. Okay. And I actually want to reduce the line type scale on that. Try 0.7. See, that looks better. Okay. And then we're going to put our hole up here. We can just project that up there. I'm actually going to move this whole view closer. Just using the move tool, straight down. That works. Okay, so we'll just project this line up. Again, I like to use the 0 layer for that. It's a little less confusing. Project the center line up. And then the right side of the hole is, the right side of the hole, if we could do that correctly. Straight up. Okay, and then we will put in hidden lines. I may have to make this a 2-part video. And then we'll do a center line. And for our center line, we're just going to stretch that out. Try 0.125 this way, and 0.125 that way. We'll get rid of our guidelines so we can see what we got going on here better. We'll reduce our line type scale again on those 3 lines. Let's go to like 0.5. That should work. I don't even really need to check it. That looks good. That view is complete. I'm going to pause the video here and create a part 2.